Whoa, the academia sure is busy during the day. But where should we go looking for people that we know?
Traveler, Paimon.
Cyno! It's been so long since we last saw you!
Welcome back to Sumeru City. So, what brings you back here?
Oh, nothing in particular. Paimon just saw a really big mushroom out on the road the other day and suddenly missed all our friends in Sumeru.
Funnily enough, we were reminiscing about you recently too. It was at a group dinner. I look forward to hearing about your travel.
Really? You were thinking of us too? What a cool...
Indeed. Or as I call it, the... You really want me to say the rest? Okay. It's always nice to meet
Oh, darn, he said it.
You like that one, huh? You must if you remember it after all this time. Admit the truth. You have long been in awe of my razor
All right. Here's your 500 mora.
You're exaggerating. It's only 500 mora.
Hey, 500 mora is still...
All right. I'll treat you to some desserts later. Anyway, I'm actually investigating a case right now. My mind is focused.
A case? What happened?
Nothing major. But after finding out who was involved, I just...
Need any help? We only came here to hang out, so we've got the time. You may as well take us with you, and then when you're done, we can...
Such enthusiasm. Are you worried I'll...
What? No!
Obvious enough. Still, it's a fine idea. You are the heroes of Sumeru. All right, follow me. Do you see him? The old man flailing around?
Oh, is he the one you wanted to talk to about the case?
Correct. His name is Cyrus, a former Spontamod sage. He taught both me...
Huh? Cyno's teacher is in trouble?
It's ridiculous. I'm just an old man who enjoys a spot of gardening, shopping, and wine. What sort of person targets an old retiree?
Professor, I've brought some friends.
Ah, Cyno. Now who do we have here? Hold on, let me think. A flying fairy... My goodness. You must be the legendary traveler in Paimon.
Wow, looks like we're really famous.
I've told him about you before. You are my friends, after all. That's right. Let me summarize. A couple of days ago, Professor Cyrus suddenly received a threat.
A threat letter?
Exactly. Who sends a threat letter to an old man like me, for goodness?
This is the letter in question.
Cyrus, I have uncovered your secret. If you wish to prevent it from going public, leave 10 million mora at the... Secondly, don't come looking for me. You'll never find me. But I will always be watching you and all of your secrets. Fine? Wow, they sure didn't mince their words.
Clearly, this person must be desperate for mora.
10 million mora, what a joke. I'm just a single retiree with nothing to my name beyond the tomatoes and...
There were no witnesses, so currently the letter is all we've got. So, Traveler, Paimon?
Paimon's ready too!
All right, take a look. Do you see anything suspicious? Very good. The paper has a rather rough texture.
Another thing is, some of these strokes look kind of blurry.
Possibly. And I bet the paper has something to do with it.
Most of the paper around here is much smoother than this, and the ink is absorbed quickly so it doesn't run. This paper, meanwhile, it's very coarse.
It's certainly not the same paper as we use in the academia, but the ink is nothing special. Just regular black ink that gets a blue tinge when applied to paper.
So do we think the culprit has a connection with the academia or not? Wait, check this out! Looks like this part got wet at some point.
Agreed. The staining suggests it was a colored liquid, not plain water.
A colored liquid, so... tea?
Looks like we're thinking along similar lines. Let's go talk to Araf. There are some things...
Araf. Ah, there he is!
Mahamatra Cyno. Sir Cyrus. Ah, and the Traveler and Paimon.
As such, I'm inclined to believe that the culprit in this case is a student at the academia. Somebody... Oh, one last thing. I'd start your
Oh, of course! You think the culprit spilled their coffee on the ladder, huh?
They do look like coffee stains to me. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the letter is written on a type of scented paper that has aromatics added during the manufacture.
Ah, of course! Yes, like they sell in the gift shops. I remember now. Zaha Hadid bought some a while back. She said she was going to use it as wrapping paper for a vase.
Understood. I'll assemble a team to investigate the points of interest immediately.
You have my gratitude.
One last thing. Send some Matra to guard the entrances and exits of Sumeru City. And change into plain clothes. Don't let them see you
Will do.
Great thinking, Cyno! So, where do we think the culprit's at right now? Yeah, they've probably been lying low at home waiting to see how Cyrus reacts.
You're right, Paimon.
Really? Which...
The culprit's approach. Whatever happens, they need this Mora. But just because they warned Professor Cyrus not to go to the Matra, doesn't mean they know what he'll do next. So, like you said, and crucially, the culprit said they'd be watching the Professor's every move.
Huh? Wait, are you saying...
Found you!
What are you doing?
You wrote the threat letter!
I don't know what you're talking about.
I sensed someone was watching us from the shadows the moment we entered the House of Dana. You managed to stay relatively well hidden, for someone reckless enough to threaten There are a lot of people here, but we were looking specifically for Araf. Whoever followed us the whole way was likely to be the culprit.
I was just listening in, that's all. You know something big's going down when Mahamatra Cyno shows up, right?
You smiled when Araf left. I saw it as clear as day.
Is smiling a crime now?
There are coffee stains on the letter. You mixed some coffee with water, gently smeared it onto the paper, then wiped it off with a wet cloth. All to create the impression that the letter was written at a cafe. Closing off the exits to the city doesn't affect you, because you already live here. And as long as the Matra were focused on the cafes, the cafe was a red herring all along. You had to be somewhere where you could monitor the professors.
You can't pin this on me! I haven't done anything!
Really? Then why are you shaking like a leaf? The innocent have no reason to fear the Matra. But you... Your heart's racing, and your eyelids are twitching.
I would never...
Don't try anything or you'll pay the price. Now
Well, that was over quickly. Cyno already caught the guy.
You're telling me. One minute I go out for a quick smoke, the next minute I see Arav. Looked like a young guy, too. Couldn't have been much more than 30. But after what he's done,
Everyone, it's all over.
Gosh, that was so fast!
The culprit's name is Uraka, a 16-year-old student in the Ratawe Darshan.
Huh?
16? Cyrus thought he looked 30-something!
We checked his records. He's 16, a third.
But he looks so old.
Yeah, seriously.
Foolish child. He's too young for the criminal.
We questioned the culprit regarding his motives.
Oh, just spit it out. Nothing can surprise me at this point.
Very well. It's our understanding that Uraka is a mediocre student who has been underperforming in his classes. He started taking extra tutoring to improve his grades, but developed a gambling. Down on his luck, he went to the tavern for a drink and overheard some people chatting about Sir Cyrus's comfortable retirement. They mentioned that he's always arguing about his tomato plants with some
old woman on the street? Goodness gracious. Has that rascal attended a single one of his classes? That old woman is Kasharwar's very own professor.
Is this going somewhere?
Oh, right, yes. So another thing. We don't just argue about tomato plants. And what are they trying to insinuate by
Maybe it's more the fact that you have the time to grow vegetables in the...
Uraka mentioned he'd heard a rumor, alleging that Sir Cyrus illegally obtained a large sum of money from the desert before retiring, and kept it for himself instead of reporting it to the academia. Uraka believes this money to be the reason why Sir Cyrus hasn't kept up with any academic research or other projects since his retirement.
Oh, Uraka. I'm at a loss for words. I'm so angry I don't know where to...
People make up rumors all the time. I am quite confident that Professor Cyrus has never embezzled a mora in...
Arav, you'll have to find some excuse to interrogate Uraka again.
I completely understand how you feel, Sir Cyrus, but I'm afraid that course of action...
Professor.
Oh, come on. I was clearly joking.
Okay.
The academia will determine the appropriate disciplinary action against the student. And as for the individuals spreading rumors about the professor's obsession with tomatoes and some old woman on the street, there could...
Who said I'm obsessed with some old woman on the street? You seem confused. Oh, don't you understand? Uraka is just a young boy who made a very rash and very stupid decision based on some groundless rumor he heard. All it costs me is a little reputational...
Please rest assured, Professor, that the academia will issue a fair and reasonable punishment.
Yes, I have no doubt about that. But as a former educator, I'd still like to have a serious conversation with the boy's parents.
Correct.
We looked into the family. Both parents are merchants, and they're often away on business. They've never taken much of an active role.
Oh, what a mess. You don't have to seal the evidence away yet, do you? I'd like to have that letter back for the time being, if possible. I need something concrete for when I talk to the family tonight. We have to show them how serious this situation is.
The relevant authorities have already reviewed the evidence and are now discussing Uraka's punishment. You can hold on to the letter for now. Just make sure to return it within a couple of days.
Oh, so you'll be able to close the case in 2 days?
Give or take. Cases like this are quick to resolve.
Very good. Well, thank you for all your help. Perhaps we can all go for a meal together.
My apologies, Sir Cyrus, but I have a prior commitment.
Ah, I see. Well, that's a pity. But Cyno, you have to come. You found the culprit at record speed. And isn't Tighnari in town at the moment?
Wait, you mean Tighnari's in the city?
He is. Tighnari's master, Sir Nephis, called him and Kale to the academia to help out on a project. Though I must say, I'm surprised you're extending an invitation to Tighnari.
Don't be outrageous. Nephis offends me all the time. Anyway, hurry up and fetch Tighnari. I'll head over to the tavern with the traveler and Paimon. Go on now. Don't keep us waiting. Not to brag, but we never had problems like this at Ratawa Hist back when I was still teaching. And if you don't want, they were students at the time. They'll tell you what it was like. Won't.
I was out in the forest at least 4 days a week back then, thanks to a colossal workload from Master. It wrought havoc on my poor tail, so I didn't exactly keep up to date with what was going on. Most of what I know, I heard from Cyno after the fact.
Professor's become a lot more laid back in his retirement. He used to be far stricter, and was especially known for being
Wow. It's hard enough to stay true to your principles as a normal person. I can't.
It's a pity Kale wasn't around at the time. I would have happily taken her on as a student.
And then we'd have one more person who has to address Lisa as upper-class woman.
Really? Can't you just call her Lisa? She seems to prefer it when people treat her like an old.
Oh, believe me. Back when she was a student, nothing made her happy.
Whoa, more food? Are you sure about this? We don't want to take it big.
Oh, don't worry about it. Order whatever you like. And if it's not...
I thought I heard some familiar voices.
Oh, Kave, it's been a while. Zahahadi was talking about you last month.
I've been all right, thank you. You're looking very well, sir. I'm glad to see it.
Have you eaten yet? Care to join us?
That's awfully kind of you, but I had a late lunch, so I'm not really hungry just yet. I just came to Lombard's to buy some wine, and when I heard some voices I recognized, I thought So what's the occasion, anyway? Some sort of celebration?
Consolation, more like. You wouldn't believe the day I've had.
Sounds like things have really gone downhill since I was there. My whole time as a...
I can't believe how young the guy is. Oh, one of his...
Young people are always more susceptible to making rash and ill-advised. But still, this boy has some nerve. Just look at what he wrote.
Wow, yeah. Gee.
I will always be watching you and all of your secrets. And then he just...
If this were my son, he'd get the scold.
Luckily, I'm also an extremely principled person.
Kave! Your order's ready, sir!
Coming! I'll have to get going. Have a nice evening, everyone. I'll catch you all another time.
Okay, bye-bye!
Here I am. The coffee beans are in here, too.
Yep, it's all there. I'll stop babbling away now. Let's eat before the food gets cold.
Oh, too tasty. Paimon's belly is about to explode.
Oh, mine too. I'll have to walk home to burn some of it off.
Thanks for dinner, Sir Cyrus. Master Tainari and I will bring you some homemade herbal tea next time. It'll do wonders for your...
Well, I look forward to that. In fact, could I trouble you to bring a little extra for the other old folks on my street?
No problem at all. I'll pack some up and bring it over.
I'll see you all later. I better head home now and tend to the crops.
Good night, Professor. Don't let those tomatoes keep you up too late.
Hey, my tomatoes are serious business. Anyway, I'll be leaving now. Don't stay up too late now, children.
Take care! Have a safe trip home!
All right. Now, we finally have...
What do you mean, us time?
Well, I was talking with Tainari and Kale, and since we all have some free time, we...
Camping? Oh, that sounds fun, Paimon! Right? It's been so long since we did something fun.
Everyone, let's meet tomorrow afternoon at the riverbank to the south. No need to bring anything. We've already packed everything for the trip. Just bring...
You got it! We'll be there!
Great. Then we'll see you tomorrow.
get a...
I'd say we're right about on schedule, actually. We were aiming to have them...
Traveler, Paimon, let's go fishing together. Whatever we catch, we can... You got it! Dinner's on us tonight! I hope I can contribute too. The other Forest Watchers gave me some fishing tips a little while ago.
I saw some very appetizing mushrooms in the area, so I gathered a few for us. I'll leave them here along...
Wow, camping with a Forest Watcher is the way to go! They think of everything!
This is true. I don't think I've ever had a single rough day in this forest.
So, how has everything been going for you?
Well, there's been some high points and low points, but we've had some unforgettable experiences along the way.
I see. Oh, in that case, you should try a valberry. I bought some from the market this morning.
A valuable suggestion. Just don't bury your feelings using food.
All I wanted was to recommend something bittersweet.
Oh, I have a sudden craving for fruit tea. I'm gonna go fetch some stuff.
She sure made a run for it.
Unbelievable. She made a run for it.
So Kale chose the path of tactical retreat. Could it be she foresaw what she'll... My dear friend, you know what I am about to say. Excellent! A kindred spirit. A great warrior... But it looks like we'll get told off if we start playing now.
We got a bite!
I'll reel it in.
Firewood, spices, snacks, and drinks. Everything's ready. Once... There are 3 tents. Which one do you two want to take?
How about the one on the left? Well, Paimon just thinks the ambiance here is a little better.
True. But it's also the closest to the water. If there are any sleepwalking fungi around tonight, they might stumble into your tent.
Well, that's no good. Take my weapon. You can use it to bar the entrance.
Anyone would think you were sealing the gates to King Deshret's mausoleum.
Excellent. Then this tent will be an impenetrable fortress.
I'm back! How's your appetites? Ready for the barbecue? Always. Oh, it smells so good. Paimon's drooling.
Someone sure is desperate to eat. I think it's time to add the seasoning.
Wait, what? Isn't that just for steaks? Hey, if it works for steak, maybe it works for other things too.
Medium well for me.
Okay, these are about ready now then. It'll be a few more minutes for anyone who wants theirs well done.
Oh, that was so delicious. If Paimon's stomach had space, she'd eat... I ate a lot too. Here it comes...
If you're tired, then go rest.
You must be getting sleepy too, Paimon. Why don't you guys head to your tents? Cyno and I will clean up.
Tonight I show you mercy. Our sacred duel will take place another day.
Good night. Paimon's struggling to keep her eyes open.
Oh, don't forget this. The staff of the Scarlet Sands.
Wait, you were actually being serious about that?
It's a very powerful weapon. Try it.
Paimon can't even lift that thing.
Fair enough. You sure?
Yeah, Paimon's sure. We'll be fine. And even if we do get an uninvited guest in the night, Paimon...
That reminds me of a parting king of invocations. But right now, it's time to rest.
I think they should all be here. Traveler? Paimon? Are you in there? Could you come outside for a sec?
Look at this.
What the? What's this sword doing here? Is it supposed to keep out intruders?
Evidently.
Huh? Who is it? Oh, what the... Paimon's gonna take out the sword. Yeah! Oh, hey them, Kave! What are you doing here? It's the middle of the night!
Sorry to wake you up at this hour of the night, but we've got a situation on our hands.
Let's get dressed and talk about it outside.
Something has come up. And since it pertains to Cyrus and Cyno, I deemed it essential to inform you all.
Whoa, back up. Let's start from the beginning. Where'd the wine cups go? I could have sworn I left them here after I washed them. Ah, there they are.
I'll have a cup too.
Can you see if the cookies are still on the table?
They are. And so are the...
Oh, this is so bland. I should have gotten a few bottles of what Cyno's group was drinking last night.
Do tell. What were they drinking?
Oh, right, I forgot to mention. So, I ran into Cyrus yesterday evening when I went to the tavern to pick up some things. He was hosting a dinner for Cyno, Tighnari, Kale, and the Traveler and Paimon. Anyway, they got a bottle of Lombard's new vintage for the table. At least, I think that's what it was. It looked pretty good.
Sounds like they're all tangled up in this.
You know what it's about, right? 16-year-old kid tried to extort Cyrus. He was asking for 10 million mora.
I heard some people talking about it on the streets, yes. Didn't take them long to catch the culprit. This...
I wonder what Sir Nephis and the others will make of it. Oh, Cyrus showed me the extortion letter, too. It was crudely written, but the paper had this beautiful pattern on it that I've never seen. Give me a sec, I'll sketch it out for you. Okay, done. Take a look. You see what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen writing paper like this around before. God knows where the culprit got it from.
Interesting. These are all motifs.
What? Really?
Take this, for instance. Looks like an outline of a spire, similar to the kind found on some ancient palaces. It bears a striking resemblance to an ancient emblem, one that hasn't been used in a very long time.
Whose emblem is it?
It's the emblem of the Temple of Silence.
After discussing it with each other, we both agreed that something didn't feel right. This was a long way to come from the city. Alhaitham figured you were probably with Tighnari, so Gandharvaville was our first stop. But then, just as we were heading off to the campsite, we ran into Cyno. He said he was on a supply run. We exchanged a few words, and then he ran off.
Hold on. So what's the deal with that emblem you were talking about? The Temple of Silence, you said? What is that?
Is everything okay? Give me a second. Let me get Kale.
So you've never heard of the Temple of Silence? Well, to put it simply, it's an organization that has existed in Sumeru for over... These days, you can find a Temple of Silence office in the academia. Theoretically, it's responsible for the custody and... At least, that's what they tell the outside world. In truth, it's essentially a vestigial institution nowadays. Historically speaking, the original Temple of Silence is said to have been established by Hermanubis, one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret, and by contrast, none of the Academia Temple's current members are from the desert region.
So the Temple of Silence at the Academia is just a fake?
It's possible. The real question is, why?
So, how do you know all this? Sounds like some pretty...
Did you forget? He did a stint as acting Grand Sage, and kept...
Oh, yeah! Paimon did totally forget about that. So you took the chance to read all the top secret documents while you were acting Grand...
If you're asking me whether I familiarized myself with the documentation in my office, I would respond...
So much about this doesn't make sense. Why did the emblem of the Temple of Silence appear on a threat letter from an student's only 16 and doesn't have any family ties to the desert? So...
You said you ran into Cyno, yes? Did you tell him what you've just told us?
Yep. He ran off as soon as he heard what we said.
Given that Cyrus is involved, he's probably halfway through solving the case by now. Still, we should try to catch up with him. At this hour of the night, Cyno will probably go...
If the Academia's Temple of Silence really does exist just to cover up the truth, the sudden appearance of this emblem can't be good. We should pay a visit to the Academia.
Yes. As the Sage of Amorta, my master ought to know the truth about their office. You can ask him to tell you what he knows. The more information we have...
If this situation is connected to the real Temple of Silence, the emblem has to be part of a bigger conspiracy.
Kale, could I trouble you to send a message to the Core of 30? Tell them to keep an eye out for Cyno and Cyrus. Traveler, Paimon, you two come with me. We'll go after Cyno.
Sounds like a plan.
Cyrus has been living in the city lately. He rented a place near the field so he can keep an eye on his tomato plant. Here we are. This is the place.
We might be too late. Looks like nobody's home. Oh, Cyno moves fast. If he was here, he's probably long...
I know that voice. Is that Tighnari I hear?
Ah! Professor Zahahadi!
Wow, so it really is you. My goodness.
We're looking for Cyno. So, he's already been here.
Yes, not long ago, in fact. He knocked on my door and asked if I'd seen Cyrus today. I told him the old fool left early this morning, and I hadn't heard him come back. So we went to his place, and it must have alarmed Cyno, because he took off in an awful hurry after...
Well, if Cyrus isn't at home... Oh, it sure doesn't sound good.
Professor, did you hear that a student recently tried to extort Cyrus?
Why, yes. When I left the house that day, I noticed he was watering his flowers in the field in complete silence. I could tell something was troubling him, but he wouldn't tell me what it was. If Cyno hadn't happened to visit him that day, he'd probably still... After seeing the letter, Cyno told him to contact the Core of 30, but Cyrus was very reluctant. He claimed it would only damage his reputation. Eventually, he relented.
Huh? Cyrus didn't want to report it? Well, that's strange. When we saw him, he seemed pretty okay with the idea.
As a former sage, it's possible Cyrus still has enemies at the academia. That's why Cyno was so insistent that he report the matter to the authorities.
So Cyrus initially hoped to stop this from going public. But why?
Oh, dear. What on earth has that old fool gotten himself wrapped? Oh, I almost forgot. Cyno left me this letter to pass on to you. He wrote it when he came by earlier.
Thank you.
What does it say? Let Paimon take a look. My friends, this is a rather complicated state of affair.
Yep, that sounds like Cyno. Thank you, Professor. Traveler, Paimon, let's head to the academia and regroup.
You're here? I thought you were going after...
We went to Cyrus's house. No one was there. Cyno got there before us, but he was
He didn't say where he was going?
No, he left us a letter and told us not to go after him.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Typical Cyno. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again, but in more detail this time.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found was a little blurry, but the similarities in the general form and certain details were clear enough to...
Yeah, and we're lucky we found anything at all. It turns out the emblem was all but lost to history. We scoured the entire academia collection.
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose his source. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to Uraka, he had a striking presence and was...
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy claimed to be in the city for business as part of a merchant caravan. Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say and brought up the idea of extorting Cyrus for Mora. The guy encouraged him to go ahead with it, then handed him some pen and paper to write the letter.
I see. So it could be that this person planned...
So, how do we find this guy? Did Uraka say where he is?
He doesn't know. He claims not to have seen him since that day in the tavern. The man gave him some tips on how to carry out the extortion, but from then on, Uraka was acting alone.
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the Core of 30 and review the city's entry and exit records. Also, Nephis admitted that the Temple of Silence in the Academia is just a facade. The true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration with the Academia, but as time went by, the sages gradually became corrupt and foolish. The Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the Academia and ended the partnership. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization and belief system. They traveled throughout Sumeru. At its roots, it was a legitimate and reputable organization whose purpose was to guide people to...
The academia of the day knew that the split would damage their reputation if it became a matter of public knowledge. And so, they set up...
Not only that, but they managed to keep up the charade for hundreds of years!
So how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple of Silence if they left centuries ago?
I'll bet that's the question that bothered Cyno. Probably why he went after him.
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the first step of the plan.
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why he didn't want to involve the authorities. He probably hoped to take care of the...
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated, that is in all likelihood where...
I have to go after him.
Really? Are you sure that's a good idea, with how you respond to the heat? Why don't...
I should be fine, as long as I bring plenty of water. Besides...
Everyone, I have news from the core of 30.
Master!
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tighnari's master? Oh.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler in Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra Cyno leave. I was going to suggest that you join forces with the core of 30 in this case. However, as I'm sure you've already heard from Alhaitham and Kaveh, the Temple of Silence is involved. The Academia has made a number of decisions throughout history that I am ashamed to talk about. It may well be that no better choice was available to them, but I won't attempt to make you understand the Academia's perspective.
I understand where you're coming from, Master. But I'm afraid the situation might be more complicated than we thought. I think we...
Good point. If Cyrus is involved with the other side, or everyone... We have to get Cyrus and Cyno back.
Need our help? Whatever you need, we got...
Really? Wonderful. You have my most sincere gratitude. Arav and I will continue to follow up on the lead from Uraka. Kaveh, Scribe Alhaitham, I'd like to ask you to cover the duties of the House of Dana. Tighnari, you are planning to go into the desert, correct?
I am. Kaveh, I'll be okay. You stay behind to help Master and Alhaitham.
Well, if you're sure... Okay. But be...
Thank you all. Arav, let's go.
You'd better get moving. Don't forget to ask for help when you need it.
Will do. Let's go, Tighnari. Hopefully we can catch up with Cyno before it's too late.
Knowing him, he's probably covered a fair distance already. But we still have a shot. Let's...
Okay, we made it to Caravan Ribat. Where should we go next? Maybe we should ask the nearby guards if they've seen anything.
Hold on. Look over there.
Is that Dia?
You sure you want to brave the desert alone? I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day, but...
It's not my first time. I'll be fine.
Cyno!
If you're really going to go through with this, then at least take our advice. When you're packing for your trip, budget for 5 days more than you plan to
Makes sense. Okay, I'll go get ready.
Thought we might find you here. You're trying to retrace Cyrus's steps, aren't you?
Didn't I tell you not to come after me? I thought I had a good lead.
Well, sorry, but we never agreed to that. Why would you go off on your own like...
Nothing personal. It's just a complex situation.
Takes a special kind of person to get Cyno chasing them all the way out to Caravan Ribat. But why so coy today, huh? You only gave us his age and description. Why can't you reveal his name? Is he Sumeru's most wanted or something? Oh, also, hey guys, it's been a while.
Dia and Candace! So nice to see you. Actually, see?
You're looking well. Glad to see it. Candace and I came to Caravan Ribat on business. We ran into Cyno as he was asking about some elderly gentleman's whereabouts. Some people say they saw him. Guess he stood out as an older guy heading into the desert alone with just a sumpter beast in tow and very few... That's gotta be one heck of a story there.
Cyno, it's okay if you can't tell us anything about the case. But let us know how we can support you. We're here to help however you need. The more people we have working on this, the quicker we'll be able to find the person...
No, it's not that simple. If I'm right, he'll be doing everything he can to avoid...
We spoke with Zaha Hadid. From what she said, it's pretty clear that he wants to try and solve this on his own. It won't be easy trying to find him in the desert when he's
Sounds like this is far more complex than we imagined.
Still, if he started from Caravan Rebot, the chances are that his route took him past Aru village. He may as well ask if anyone there is...
My thanks to you both. Once this is resolved, I will find a way to repay you.
Come on. No need to get all serious. Just buy a round of drinks next time we're all...
That's it.
All right, so...
Yes, we'll handle it from here. Thank you again for your help.
All right, then we'll leave you to it. Just remember, if you change your mind and...
And don't think you'd be imposing. You can...
Don't worry, we'll keep him out of trouble.
Hold on. There's a few things I'd like to clear up.
Go on.
So, after you left the campsite...
Clearly, we've only scratched the surface of the Temple of Silence question.
Do you have any connection with the Temple of Silence?
I do. I trust you're all aware of the spirit that gives me my power. Hermanubis. Due to my unique constitution, I was put through a number of trials in the desert when I was younger. But my memory of that time is hazy. I can't recall much. It's a good thing that Kaveh noticed the emblem on the letter. Without that, I don't know if we would have connected the dots. I did not recognize that symbol at all. Whether that's because I've never seen it, or because my memory...
Yeah, you're right. Thank goodness for Kaveh, and for Al-Haytham's diligence during his time as acting Grand Sage.
But Cyrus must have recognized it right away, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have had any qualms about you reporting it. Oh.
I suspect so too. Professor has never once mentioned the Temple of Silence in conversation.
Well, speaking of avoiding things, you do realize, don't you, now that we've caught up with you, you're stuck with us for the rest of the way.
I am aware. And I have accepted it. Or rather, I don't see how I could manage to ditch you en route, so I might as well accept that.
That's right. Fact is, we're coming with you whether you like it or not, so the best option now is to try to look out for each other.
Fair enough. Then at least let me buy you a drink once we're back in the city.
Works for me. All right, off we go. Let's start by seeing what the guards here can tell us.
Hello.
Mahamatra Cyno?
I'm looking for someone, so I'd like to confirm any recent foot traffic in and out of Aru village.
A man matching that description passed by Aru village not too long ago. He stopped by to load up on food.
Where was he going?
Let me think. He took a seat by the entrance of the village for a while, and had a brief chat with the person who came to deliver the water. He said he was headed... Do you have a map? I can mark out the direction he was heading and the best routes to any nearby oases.
I have one. Mark away.
Great. There you go.
Thank you so much. You were a great help.
You've got a really good memory.
You're quite welcome. Just doing my job. Best of luck. I hope you find him soon.
Hold on. I see some people over there.
Do you think it's safe to ask them what they know?
Should be. I'll go...
No. I'll do it.
Huh? Why can't Cyno go talk to them? What difference does it make?
Given my background, appearance, and the way I dress, I might not be the most welcome visitor here.
Ah, hello there. I hope I'm not interrupting. My friend and I are looking for an elderly man who's gone missing around these parts.
Oh, a missing person, huh? Sure. What do you want to know?
I'm just wondering if you've seen him. Let me give you the details.
So, a silver-haired guy in a long robe, culture type with...
He'd stand out like a sore thumb around here.
Yeah, sounds like the kind of guy we'd remember if we saw him.
He's looking behind me.
Uh-oh. That guy's looking our way.
Your friend over there stands out a lot, too. Hey, aren't you Cyno, the General Mahamatra?
Yes, that's me.
You don't seem surprised that I recognized you.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, you're the one looking for the old man who's gone missing, aren't you?
I have a bad feeling about this guy.
Someone's on edge. No need to hide it. I understand why you're wary of us. Still, you came to us asking for help. Do you want it or not?
I thought you were a group of merchants. Seems I was mistaken.
Your henchmen don't look like much, but something tells me they put up a better fight than most mercenaries.
Hey, hear that, guys? You're my...
Suits me, as long as I get paid for it.
Just cut to the chase already. I'm running out of patience.
All right. Come with me. All of you. Don't you want to find your friend? A silver-haired, long-robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes? Sounds like there's a whole other side to Cyrus I didn't...
So you know where he is?
Just follow me. I'll take you to him. And here.
What? Where are you looking? There's nothing.
Please step back.
Whoa, something's coming out of the ground!
What is this enormous building doing here?
And how was it so well hidden?
Wait, so... Hold on, who are you guys really?
Is this the Temple of Silence?
All good questions. There'll be plenty of time to address them later.
This is not what Paimon was expecting to find in the desert, especially not hidden right next to an oasis. Ooh, Paimon's scared. They must have kidnapped Cyrus. Do you think this is the guy Raka met in the tavern?
What's wrong? Thinking about your professor?
I just hope for your sake you haven't done anything you might regret.
Me too. Hope I haven't done anything to incur your wrath. you can wait here for now. I'll inform our leader that you've arrived at the Temple of Silence. Sit tight until he comes to greet you.
So he's just gonna leave us here unattended?
They can't have been at the oasis by chance. They were waiting for us. Whoever the leader is here, they were obviously counting on us showing up.
So this is the Temple of Silence. After leaving the rainforest, they hit...
Hey, look! That guy's coming back.
Don't worry. Someone will come and call for you soon.
What's your name?
Sorry, guess I was so delighted to see you, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Sethos. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm not planning on answering all of your questions.
So we're free to explore by ourselves?
Yep. I mean, I'm not worried about you running off. Cyrus is here. And unless I've misunderstood, you're all quite anxious to see him again.
He's right. Well, if we've...
Hey, Sethos! Have you got some time to chat?
Sure. Although, I'm assuming by chat, you mean you have questions for me? Not often. The Temple of Silence is a place of quiet and solitude. We don't get too many visitors. Yes, that was me. Although, tricked is a stretch. He was asking everyone in the tavern. He insisted that nothing was off the table, even if it broke the law. So, I told him that Cyrus had embezzled...
So you framed Cyrus for a crime that he did not commit?
No. That's not entirely true. Let me jog your memory. The letter just said that he had... Of course. Uraka was a great accomplice, really. Very cooperative with a little bit of wine in him. Did exactly what he was told.
Why did Cyrus leave for the desert as soon as he received the letter?
You'll have to ask him that one yourself. Certain things I can't answer for him. I'm neither judging nor defending. All you need to know is that he recognized our emblem, and it was his own choice to take the bait. What kind of question is that? He's the General Mahamatra. Everyone in Sumeru knows who he is.
Right, but back at the oasis, you can't have known who he was for sure, or you wouldn't have asked him, so...
I've lived in the desert my whole life. Guess you could say I've never had the pleasure.
Ugh, why does Paimon feel like this guy's not being straight with us?
Come on, we've only just met. If I give you all the answers up front, you'll have nothing left to look forward to.
I never imagined that the true Temple of Silence would be hidden somewhere like this. We've passed through...
That's King Deshret's technology for you, I guess. It borders on the miraculous.
We should be wary of our hosts. Still, at this point, we can be confident that the professor is safe and sound.
Ah, here he is. Grandfather, the person you wish to see is here.
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of Silence.
Professor!
Cyrus, are you okay?
Ah!
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus is of great importance to us. We had to find a way to bring him back to us. Cyrus owes me his life, and to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go a long time ago, but now...
I wanted to end my feud with this old bag of bones before you caught up with me. But you got here so quickly. Just leave, Cyno. This is a matter between us two old men. You're all too young to get involved.
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning.
Some things in life catch up with you, no matter what you do.
Cyno didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. To rescue you. We'd appreciate you telling us the truth.
My secrets are secret for good reason.
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past. You recognized our emblem because for many years you lived among us. You knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us, and joined us in our mission to revive the might of Hermanubis, to bring new hope, new opportunity. But then you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might? And the...
Does he mean you?
Professor.
The moon is right. I came here once before. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, he invited me to come here and revive the might of Hermanubis together. It was a great, daring plan. The moon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. Many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults, one other child was identified as a suitable vessel, and his parents agreed to release him into our custody.
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. As remnants of his raw power, the test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony, and instructed to approach the Ba fragments, whose power had been amplified. If, after some time, this power did not repel them, the original plan was for a 3-stage experiment: resonance, implantation, and recovery and observation. As the 2nd stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. Our 2 vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the to preserve our faith and our power. We implanted each of them with a single fragment.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment and left.
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. I have always wanted to see you, Cyno. Losing you and your Ba fragment dealt us.
I see. So that's how I gained my power.
Look, in essence, I borrowed your Ba fragment for a decade or so. And now you are... But you cannot lift a finger against Cyno. He is the General Mahamatra. Your actions would be seen as a declaration of war against the Academia.
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear Cyno, but you've met us all before. You were so young then, when you and he, Sethos, you were our final hope.
You'd like me to return my power?
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now,
that power is not yours to reclaim.
You are wrong. Cyno was chosen, but he was not the only one.
So those are your terms for freeing the professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because of my foolishness all those years ago that the Temple's glory has waned, and...
So what you're saying is, the power of one Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession.
Divine power causes great suffering to those who we...
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to bear. And your objections mean little, given that you
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are proposing is a...
Don't listen to him, Cyno. That power is no more your...
I know. But if this is a question of your freedom versus...
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that still need addressing. Say that Cyno refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is...
Wait, those ears... So, we have a descendant of the Valukashuna in our midst. Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day, we'll...
Why is he coughing so much? He looks like...
Moon, you...
Take our leader back to his room. Grandfather, I know what you wish to say. I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to the chase. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. The wisdom of Hermanubis would have been still. It's no use talking about what-ifs. We cannot change the past. I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy and a sacred duty to fulfill. So it's somewhat inevitable for the leader to have an inflated sense of self. But I see things a little differently. I don't believe the temple has the same stature that it once did. Time has worn away at its prestige and changed things almost beyond recognition. So I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave. Except...
You have courage and wise judgment, kid. Reminds me a lot of Bamoon in his younger years. I truly wish that the temple would take an objective look at the academia of today. And things will only continue to improve.
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open to persuasion.
Tighnari made a good point earlier. He said there has to be more to your plan than all you and Bamoon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. I am the one who has a choice to make. Ultimately, you want to trade the Ba fragment for the professor, correct?
I'm glad to see you're giving it some serious consideration.
I won't forsake my professor. Nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face sooner or later.
That works. Then I'll be waiting to hear your verdict. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants to say.
Are you sure about negotiating with him?
I need to think this through. Everyone, let's meet again later tonight. Until then...
Alright, well, don't put too much pressure on yourself, Cyno. If you need any help working things out, just come and find us.
I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the... He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something.
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once
So that's one thing. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. So on that, I don't have anything to add. My own memories of this place are hazy, though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much, only bits. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it now, I suppose the power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way.
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to wield this power for myself, fair and square.
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Silence was originally founded by the ruling elite of the day. Traditionally, such organizations are bound by a strict and ancient code of... Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their tribal bond. I think we could turn that to our advantage. Go back to them with a proposal of our own.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the tables on them.
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can, in terms that they cannot refuse. That's how we...
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or two about medicine and would like...
Sethos, let's talk.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so...
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here. I doubt you'll be able to tell us any...
Only one way to find out.
Follow me. Keep your voices down.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite He appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been exacerbated over the years by... Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on what I've seen with patients in a similar condition...
Yeah. I've known.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man, but you also see things differently. So tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way to bring all this to a resolution.
Yeah, there's no time to waste here. You know that better than anyone.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now. Both of you...
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow
You're right. We both look at this problem. I accept, Cyno. This all began because of her. Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred with the city's residents. He and his two companions proved their mettle by fighting over several... That group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence, and the sparring matches were enshrined as one of...
Sounds very fitting. I'm in.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep. So I will permit you...
3 against 3. Sounds good.
However, I have some additional terms. As the challengers, you must win all 3 of your fights. Letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake, made by my grandfather out of pity. It is a long-standing issue that...
None needed. We're on the same page. If I win, the Temple of Silence must release Cyrus. If you win, I'll return my power.
It's a deal. Then let's meet at the ceremonial hall tomorrow evening.
Well, after how that went, there's definitely...
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment...
You have to win. You need this power. But...
Yeah, that's right! Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a small child.
Both as General Yeah, when you put it that way. I've had to overcome a lot to tame this power and claim it for myself.
Exactly!
The Traveler and I will never lose.
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the rainforest. But there must be personal factors at work here too. I can't shake the feeling that Ba cares for many more things than he lets on. Tomorrow.
We gather on this day to perform once more the rite of duels, with the greatest of all This is our most sacred of ceremonies, and no disruption from the audience shall be tolerated. Representing the Temple of Silence.
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels after all these years. I am surprised by your decision.
I know what I'm doing, Grandfather. Just leave it to me.
Representing the Academia, the Challengers.
Ready. We will fight to have our voices heard.
Warriors, take your positions and decide on... We come not to debate what brings our challengers here, nor what will become of the defeated duelists. Duelists, the might of Hermanubis...
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. She's very strong. Sending her out first will...
Okay, then you're second.
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we. Let's begin.
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with her, or Paimon will make you regret it!
A little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
A swift end to the first bout. I now, when you're both ready, you may begin.
Let's begin.
Watch out!
He drank plenty of water before the bout, so he should be fine.
One thing after another.
Thus ends the second bout. We will now move to the third bout. Duel.
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage of the rite. When you're both ready, you may begin.
I am Sethos, vessel of For many years, we have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. We earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis' wisdom and power, longing to see his spirit and now, I will fight.
I am Cyno, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of And you. I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel.
Everyone, old and young, fit. My grandfather is a wise leader. He is also known to be a ruler who is not afraid to get blood, but our faith has held us back for too long. After I grew up, I went to the rainforest once, and I saw from my times have changed. The people of Sumeru are happier and more free now than in the past. Then I thought of you, Cyno. You and I both wield the same. Each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands for something different. Might. I once thought that the nature of our fragments must be what makes us so different from one another. But maybe
I am more than just a warrior.
Exactly.
The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both of us. So show me your answer, Cyno. Show me I can be more than my... Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer?
fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the god king, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tynarian priests and led them to the city of Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, and from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. Only the wise city of Tula was spared under the guiding hand of the Tynarians. But peace did not last. Coveting the knowledge of King Deshret, the beasts set their eyes on Tula. The king of Gurabad laid siege to the city and ordered the sages to surrender to him the Temple of Silence as proof of his victory. The ruling elite colluded with their oppressors, betraying the temple so as to hold on to their rule over the city. They declared that the knowledge guarded by the temple was the true cause of corruption. These were dark days, and we faced enemies on all sides. Our Lord had long since exhausted his strength, keeping the forbidden knowledge introduced by King Deshret at bay. To ensure the temple's continued survival, he broke his being into many pieces and began the ceremony of Hermanubis' legacy, bestowing his power upon his mortal followers. With this power, the temple was able to defeat the tyrant's army. Yet, we were not hailed as heroes. Strange and unfamiliar as this power was, it struck fear into the people's hearts and drove them to reject us. In the end, the people of the temple and the Tula Tynarians left the city for good and made their way to the rainforest. What followed next was inevitable. The elite of Tula fell and were decimated. War engulfed the desert. And we wandered from place to place, always in hiding, all the while keeping close watch over our secrets and staying true to our mission. Betrayal forced us out of the desert and into the forest. Then mistrust drove us from the forest into the desert once more. We have lived in exile for far, far too long. Yet, today, the Temple of Silence has borne witness to the glory of Hermanubis once more. Thank you.
you feel okay?
Grandfather.
Hey, Sethos.
I know. I just...
I guess you were prepared for this. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, he's been on death's door for a very... At least, he was able to see this chapter come to a close.
What's next for you?
Per my grandfather's last wishes, the Temple of Silence should submit to whoever possesses the largest number of Hermanupis fragments.
But that's never going to work, as I'm sure you realize. I did foresee this possibility, and I gave it some thought. The fact is, I know next to nothing about the staff, Sethos. I believe the honor should go to you. Were it not for this duel, or indeed if you had other intentions, the Ba fragments would most likely be in your hands by now. I'm sure Ba-Moon never meant for anyone but you to be...
You really think so?
I do.
Still, I didn't think Ba-Moon looked very surprised by the final result.
Well, in any case, since the Ba fragments are with me now, I guess I can call the shots. Sethos, I would like you to succeed Ba-Moon as the new leader of the Temple of Silence. You are more suited to the role than I.
But doesn't that render everything that we've been through up to now?
No, it doesn't. This experience has allowed us to become friends, which means that the Academia and the Temple... That's a much bigger deal than you might think, Sethos. You said yourself, times have changed.
I will try. To be honest...
Actually, part of me wonders whether Ba-Moon's intentions from the very beginning were that way. No matter who won, one of us would have to surrender our Ba fragment, and the power of Hermanubis would be concentrated. Had you won, the Temple of Silence would have doubled its strength. And were I to win, he correctly anticipated that I wouldn't suddenly drop everything to become the leader of the Temple. He knew that the Temple's future would depend not just on the guidance of Hermanubis, but the support of the Academia too. So he made it his responsibility to ensure his successor would be free from the burdens of the past. His plan meant that whoever ended up succeeding him, they would have an easier time interacting with the Academia. With one...
And here I thought that General Mahamatra wouldn't care for all the... You're absolutely right. Grandfather and I considered this from every angle. We had to find a way to mend our relationship with the Academia. Thank you for everything, Cyno. As a gesture of our gratitude, to those that you and Lesser Lord Kusanali deem... The Temple of Silence has a wealth of information on King Deshret's civilization. More than any other organization in existence today. But you must be exceedingly careful with your selection of candidates. By the way, Tainari, my grandfather was so happy to see you. You are a descendant of the Veluca Shuna. The story goes that King Deshret chose the sage Hermanubis from among the Tainarians and appointed him as his He went on to fight many valiant battles with his Tainarian companions. They always stood by each other, from the founding of the Temple of Silence to the fall of Tuletula. The Tainarians who left Tuletula joined their human counterparts in the rainforest. A few centuries later, when some of the group returned to the desert, many of in all likelihood, those were your ancestors.
How fascinating. My father once mentioned that I was named after the Tainarians, but I never knew that my forebears had such a history with the Temple of Silence.
I like this story.
By the way, has anyone seen
Yes. Cyrus. You'll probably find him in my grandfather's room.
If it's true that you and your grandfather really planned for everything to turn out this way, then I guess he didn't really resent Cyrus as much as he appeared to.
Who knows? Perhaps all of us. You, me, and Cyrus. We're all just pawns in my grandfather's plan to set things straight.
Someone's got to make the decisions when history is at a crossroads. I will make a detailed report on all of this to Lesser Lord Kusanali, and arrange for an official delegation from the Academia to come and meet you in the desert. I'm sure you'll have lots to attend to in the days ahead, but once things return to normal, please come and visit the rainforest again. You should stay for a few days this time if we're going to work together. Both sides have to—
I will. All right, well...
See you soon. Come hang out with us anytime.
What were you thinking, gallivanting off into the desert alone at your age? What if you take the bucket, You told not a soul what you were up to.
Oh, please, will you stop your yelling?
What do you mean, what other choice? Do you mean to tell me that after all your years of learning, and sagehood no less, the one-man suicide mission, That's the best idea that one of the finest minds of a generation could come up with.
All right, all right. Honestly, the way you're going off on me, it's like you wish you'd been there to lend him.
I've got nothing more to say. What's the point of berating an old—
What do you mean, bag of bones? I'm a flesh and blood hero. Who did— Okay, look. Fine, I admit it, I was in the wrong. How can I make it up to you?
1 month? Try 3.
Inari's master is really laying into Cyrus.
Professor brought this on himself.
Wow, I haven't seen Master get this right. The last time he chewed someone out like this must have been back when I was still a student.
I think I'll go around and update everyone. Tell them the situation's resolved. Want to come with me? We can go for dinner afterwards. My treat. You in?
Makes sense. I'm in.
Hyman's coming too! Let's go!
Hey, Kale.
You're back! Well, look who we have here. Would you mind explaining to me what has been going on this past few days?
All taken care of.
That does not answer my question. How could you be so careless? That goes for when you run into problems, you really ought to ask for help, you know? I've been around the block. Don't you think it would have made sense to involve me?
Now would not be a good time to attempt to argue with Far.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time that I've had to talk to you about this sort of thing either. You need to learn that there are times when the right thing to do is get a more experienced member of...
Kale, please do something.
He's giving me the signal. All right, guess it's time to play my ace.
Say, Madame Farizan, I can see you're pretty upset, but, I was just wondering, remember that time you offered to give me a tour?
Huh? Wait, did I hear that right? Kale, you remember? Wonderful. Well, of course.
Poor Kale getting dragged off like that. Also, check out Farozan acting like some sort of...
Kale! Cup.
Huh? What? Oh!
What do you mean, cup? You need a cup?
Oh, it's nothing. Just Master's way of reminding me to stay hydrated while I'm out and about.
It's code for let's reconvene at the cafe. Tainari and I used it while we were in school, and it's become something of a family tradition now.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. 2 people left. Let's bring them along, too. Am I hallucinating? Or do I see Kaveh and Alhaitham engaged in...
We're just reorganizing all the books we used. Look, there's a whole mountain of them.
There's no rush. Nobody reads these books anyway.
My sincere thanks to you both.
Yes, with your help, we resolved the issue rather swiftly and painlessly. And the outcome was better than we could have hoped for.
I see. The Temple of Silence resorted to rather unique means of self-preservation.
And it sounds like they managed to preserve a whole load of ancient documents as well. I'd love to...
That day will come. The Temple of Silence is a hugely important organization. Now, as a token of my appreciation, I'd like to...
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great. Although, after the last few days, I don't know if I can handle...
Sure. Let's go.
And then, the Traveler just pounced on their opponent and knocked him right out cold! Then there was Tainari! He put up an amazing fight, too! We ended up winning all 3 bouts!
Whoa! Part of me wishes I'd been there to see it, but I'd have been biting my nails off worrying about you guys.
A truly edifying account of the events. Bereft of detail, but it has...
Hey, Paimon included all the juicy details! The Traveler just pounced and then waved their sword like this, then spun around and blocked.
Despite winning 3 bouts in a row, you still ceded the position of leader to him. That's very
Of course. Being dignified comes with being a true champion.
I got to be a champion too for once. I've not sparred much with desert folk before. It was a pretty unique experience.
Yeah! Huge place! It felt like something right out of an epic poem! Imagine this. It was like there was...
Maybe save that one for later, Paimon. Dessert's here.
I think that'll do me for today.
Shall we stop off at the House of Dana again before heading home? We should probably finish putting all those books back.
My thoughts exactly. See you around.
I should get going as well. See you all later. Make sure you get some good rest tonight.
I need to go say thanks to the Core 30 for their help. Also, Sir Nephis says he wanted to introduce me to some of the Academia's work processes. So, I gotta dash too.
Kale's come a long way. She's much more confident at dealing with other people these days.
Everyone's a work in progress. You never stop learning.
Yeah, true.
it feels like everything's finally wrapped up now. Life is all about these moments when you can finally relax and hang out with good friends after a job well done. And also, those desserts Cyno got, they were...
Do you three have anything planned for the rest of the day? If not, would you come somewhere with me? That's a secret for now. Wouldn't want to spoil the surprise.
Okay, I think I can guess what you're talking about. It'll
Well, now Paimon's curious! Come on, let's go!
Been a while since I last made my way up here.
Wow, look at this place!
Need any help? As you wish.
It's a nice spot, isn't it?
What a great view! We're so high up, we can see for miles!
Traveler, turn around. This is my secret base. Somewhere I only bring my best friends. When I was a student, I used to slip away and climb up here all the time, just to clear my head. I was quite young then, and hadn't made too many friends yet. Back then, I had a lot of the same questions that Sethos was asking. Our gifts help us to find our rightful place in the world. That was my experience, and I'm sure Sethos will figure things out in his own time.
You two really are like brothers.
I feel the same way. Of course. I see no need to be humble when...
I still remember one time when we came up here to chat and do our homework. Cyno accidentally dropped a fruit. Luckily, he has fast reflexes, so he caught it just in time.
That was the one and only time. Nothing will ever slip through my fingers again.
Those were good times. I kinda miss the
You know, Paimon really shouldn't be able to imagine Cyno doing something like that, but for some...
Then make it stop. There's somebody there. It's Professor... You guys carry on without me.
Okay.
Huh? Hey, you're not supposed to jump down! Be careful!
Oh, my days.
Professor?
Cyno. Just the man I'm looking for. Guess what I found in...
Some old photos?
Can you believe it? This notebook was just sitting in a pile of odds and ends in the sage's office. I must have forgotten to take it with me. I was at the academia earlier to discuss my workload with Nephis. I swung by... Oh, time flies. Look how tiny you are in this picture.
You look quite young yourself in that one. Ah, it's this one. I remember that.
Yep. Looks like her work, all right. Who else could have found just the right...
And this one. Looks like we're both dozing.
Oh, cheeky girl. Take...
Is there something you'd like to say to me, Professor?
Like what? Like, these are good photos, aren't they? Hey, at moments like this, I can't pretend I'm a good person. Bamoon had every reason to despise me.
Don't be ridiculous, you old codger.
Is that not what you wanted me to say? Oh, I've dreamt of that place many times after leaving the desert. Sometimes I've dreamed that I was doing research with... Oh, it was one of the happiest times of my life. You've matured so much over the years, Cyno.
Since you're my professor, I should save you some face by not calling you out on all the non-answers you...
Good thinking. Take your own advice next time. Seriously, why bully an old man like me? I thought heroes were supposed to be gracious. Hey, wait, how did I not notice this one earlier?
Lisa strikes again. Just how many did she take?
Look how cute you were when you were little.
Yeah, and look how serious and professional you used to be.
Oh, I can't compete with you anymore. First you get better than me at the deadpan...
Don't say that.
That's more like it. Hey, what would you say to meeting up with Lisa again sometime?
I'd like that. Let's...
All right, I'll add it to my schedule. Wait, no. Next week is the tomato growing competition. I have got to...
Or you could find a real hobby.